Hello and welcome to this update today. Today is 28th of February. So in this video, I just wanted to have a look at the big tech stocks just to see how they've been doing. So I'll start off with Nvidia. So this is Nvidia. This is the 2-hour chart. So I've got the levels here, which I'm watching. So Nvidia finished down 285 today. There was quite a bit of weakness towards the end, not just in Nvidia but in markets in general. Overall, Dow and S&P 500, they are quite weak. Nasdaq and Russell 2000, they're holding up, but towards the end they also came under some pressure. So looking at Nvidia, if I look at the price action, the level to watch is this one around 229. You can see. So it's been consolidating ever since the earnings came out. It's been consolidating just above this breakout level. But it's showing some weakness on a short-term basis. This is a 2-hour chart. You can see that RSI is slowly moving lower. This is the RSI 50 level. This is an important level. If the 2-hour falls below this level, at least on a 2-hour basis, the momentum will shift from positive to negative. If you look at the hourly chart, you can see that RSI is right at that level. You can see that previously when RSI, at least on an hourly basis, fell from positive to negative right here, and then up until here, you can see the price action was weak. I just draw a vertical line so you can see. So right here, previously there was a change in momentum from positive to negative until this point right here. You can see that during that time, on an hourly basis, RSI was below this 50 level, and you can see the price action was weak. So I'm watching to see whether or not the RSI on an hourly basis will dip below the 50 level, and that would basically mean that at least on a short-term basis there would be a change in momentum from positive to negative, and if so, then I would expect some weakness in Nvidia. Now the levels to watch is that 229. If this level is breached, the next level would be around here, which is around 220, and then on the upside the resistance is around 240. So watch Nvidia on an hourly basis. If you look at 4-hour basis, on a 4-hour basis the momentum is still positive, but it's beginning to show some weakness. You can see on a 4-hour basis, RSI is gradually moving lower, and you see MACD looks kind of weak to me as well. If I look at on a daily basis, RSI is well above the 50 level, so that's fine. I think this consolidation is actually quite healthy because it had a huge run-up. If you look at the moving averages, it's the price is well above the moving average. In fact, I think this would be doing what Meta did after its earning. If you look at Meta, so you can see that there was a massive gap up after the earnings, and since then it's been consolidating, going sideways, releasing some of the overbought condition. You can see RSI was way above. It was around 85, and then it started to move lower. It came near the 50 level, and then today had a nice bounce. So I think Nvidia could very well do something like this, which I think would be healthy, because overall the trend is still up. It's quite strong and bullish, but at least on a short-term basis, I think it could consolidate and pull back. You see that even if it pulls back to the 20-day moving average, 20-day moving average is around 216, because you can see right here, after the big run-up, it came and touched the 20 again, 20 here. So it's entirely possible for it to come and test the 20-day moving average. So that's why on a short-term basis, you can see that momentum indicators are weakening. but on a longer term basis, momentum indicator is still 5. On a daily basis, so long as it doesn't fall below the 50 level, I think things should be fine. Even on a weekly basis, you can see that the momentum is quite strong. So it's only on a short-term basis, just to work off some of these overbought condition. So watch the RSI. If it dips below, on an hourly basis, if there is any weakness tomorrow, I think it's going to fall below the 50 level. So I would expect some weakness in this one. If I look at Tesla next, so Tesla has been consolidating between let's see, 187 which is the low it set in mid-February, and then 218 on the upside. So it's been basically going sideways. Now, if I look at a 4-hour basis, you can see the consolidation. You can see that RSI has been gradually moving lower, but it's still above the 50 level. So you can see that it touched the 50 level and then bounced. So long as it remains above the 50 level, things are fine, because you can see that previously when it crossed below the 50 level, the momentum shifted from positive to negative, and then we saw some weak price action. So I'm watching to see whether or not on a 4-hour basis the momentum changes from positive to negative. At this point, it's still positive. If you look at them on a daily basis, momentum is still positive. You can see that RSI is gradually moving lower, but so long as it stays above the 50 level, it should be fine. This is when on a daily basis the momentum changed from negative to positive, and it's still holding. So on a daily basis it looks fine to me, and on a weekly basis you can see that RSI is right around the 50 level, and it's holding. So on a weekly basis it looks fine to me for the moment. If I look at Apple next, weekly basis, you can see RSI is right at the 50 level. It's entirely possible that it, on a weekly basis, is trying to find a higher low, because it had a big run up, and then you're seeing some consolidation, and then so long as this doesn't break, this could very well be a weekly higher low. If you look at on a daily basis, you can see that RSI is at the 50 level, which is a neutral level. This is an important level. If it breaks below, if the RSI falls below 50, then obviously the momentum will shift from positive to negative. Then we can see some additional weakness. So if we look at some of the so let's have a look at some of the levels we should be looking out for. So I'm now looking at a 4-hour basis. So you can see that Apple traded between 156 and 149.50. This was the low, and then it broke to the downside, and since then it's been consolidating underneath this previous support. Now if you take the full measured move of this distance, that gives you a target of this level around 142.50, but right now it found support at the midway of this range. So and it's been consolidating between these two levels. If this level is breached, which is around 146, then odds of a move down to this level would be high, but at the moment it's staying in this range. So we'll see which way it breaks, whether it reclaims this level or it breaks this level, in which case we'll be looking for a move down to here. On a 4-hour basis, you can see that momentum is right now negative. RSI is falling below. It tried to overcome this level, but wasn't successful. So on a 4-hour basis, seeing some weakness. On a daily basis, it's at a neutral area, but on a weekly basis, it's also at a neutral area. So so we need to see which way Apple, which way is the next move, whether it bounces off this, whether this becomes a support. You can see the RSI 50 level was a resistance here. So the question whether this would provide support. If so, I would expect to see a bounce. But if the support is broken, then obviously we would have to expect some more weakness ahead. If we look at Amazon next, so this is a daily chart. So let's start off with the 4-hour. So on a 4-hour basis, you can see series of lower highs. You can see the momentum is weak. It has fallen below the 50 level on a 4-hour basis, somewhere around here, early February, when the price was around 102. And since then, you can see that momentum has been weak and that the price has gradually moved lower. Even though it's oversold, it can stay oversold. I'm not seeing any kind of pickup in momentum. On a daily basis also, you can see RSI fell below the 50 level right around here, around 98, and it's been below that level. MACD is also moving lower. So on a daily basis also, it's looking weak to me. And on a weekly basis, again, it's been below the 50 level from pretty much right here. It's September, and you can see that price action has been weak. So that's Apple. If we look at Microsoft, so on a weekly basis, you can see it's at a important level, RSI 50 level. You can see that RSI 50 acted as a resistance here. So the question is whether this will be a support or whether this would be a break of support. On a daily basis, you can see that momentum indicators are weak. MACD is moving lower. RSI is below 50. So on a daily basis, I'm seeing some weakness in Microsoft. On a 4-hour basis, obviously it has fallen below some mid-February, and you can see that it's gradually moving lower. The level I'm watching is this one right here, which is around 247. Effectively, it traded between this range and that range, and then once it broke, the full measured move provides a price target to this level. But at the moment, I'm seeing weakness on the 4-hour, weakness on a daily, neutral at the weekly. So let's see how things play out on Microsoft. If we look at Netflix, so Netflix on a, if we look at 2-hour basis, so I've got the range here, you can see that. So it's been consolidating between 330 and 315. So it's been consolidating. So 330 is the resistance. If 330 gets taken out, then next level to watch out would be around 345. 315 is the downside support. You can see on a so this is a 2-hour basis. So if I look at 4-hour basis, momentum is actually weak on a 4-hour basis, because you can see right around mid-February it has fallen below the 50 level. So it's been weak, and as a result, it's not able to generate any kind of move to the upside. On a daily basis, you can see it's also showing some weakness. It's fallen below RSI 50. You can see MACD moving lower. So I'm seeing some weakness on a daily basis. On a weekly basis, you can see that it's above the RSI 50 level, which is positive. On a weekly basis, you can see that the structure is actually quite constructive. You can see a series of higher lows. Maybe it's trying to find a weekly higher low. So long as RSI remains above 50, this weekly pattern is going to be quite constructive. So we'll see how what happens to the weekly, but on a daily basis, it is. So there is a conflict between the daily and the weekly. Now, obviously, the weekly pattern takes precedence because it is at a higher time frame. But as long as the weekly momentum remains positive, I would expect the daily to recover from this consolidation. So that's Netflix. If we look at Google, so we'll look at 4-hour first. So on a 4-hour basis, I'm seeing weak momentum. Momentum turned negative sometimes in early February, right around here, and you can see that since then, we see lower prices. So not seeing any kind of constructive patterns yet. On a daily basis, you can see momentum is still weak. RSI tried to overcome the 50 level but failed. And then on a weekly basis, you can see that RSI has dipped back below the 50 level. So Amazon and Google seem to be the weakest of them from in all time frames. The other ones, at least on a weekly basis, they are still in positive territory, a positive to neutral. But Amazon and Google are showing quite a bit of weakness. If we quickly look at SPY is also acting weak. That's because the healthcare sector is not able to generate any kind of momentum, and that's having a impact on SPY. So if you look at let's say 4-hour basis, you can see 4-hour chart pattern is quite weak. You can see momentum has RSI has fallen below 50, so this, and you can see MACD is moving lower, so that's looking weak. Now what are the levels we should be looking out for? So this is the 394, 395 was the previous low, so that would be one. And finally this one, which is around 391 is an important level because it traded inside this range from here to here. The full measured move brings it to this level, 391, and 391 is also where a Fibonacci level is sitting. So if you take if you draw a fib from this low to this high, the 61.8 is right here. So that's why this level is quite important. So we'll see whether or not SPY tests that level. But on a 4-hour basis, I see the momentum is weak. On a daily basis, momentum is also weak because you can see RSI is below the 50 level. MACD is heading lower. So there's quite a bit of weakness on a daily basis. But if you look at on a weekly basis, it's holding up. So let me just fix this one. On a weekly basis, you can see RSI is right at the 50 level. This is a very important level because you can see that in all of 2022, RSI mostly stayed below the 50 level. And when that happened, you can see generally lower prices. So this is an important level that it's in. The question is whether this level is going to provide support. Like here, you can see that it bounced off this level previously. This level was a resistance right here. So it could bounce off this level. On the other hand, if it breaks below this level, consequences could be quite severe because we could potentially see something we saw back in 2022. So we'll see how things develop in the rest of this week and next week. I mean, we don't have any significant economic report this week. The next important report would be next Friday, 10th of March, when the non-farm payroll comes out. I think the market probably will not do much between now and 10th of March. Market would want to see what that non-farm payroll number looks like to see whether or not the job market is still strong on the back of the January report, or do we see some kind of moderation in the labor market. So I'm not sure that the market would do too much between now and 10th of March when the next big economic number comes out. And then right after that, 14th of March, you have the CPI number. So I think those reports could be the catalyst for the next move in the market, either to the upside or to the downside. But at least for now, neutral on the weekly, weak on the daily, and 4-hour on SPY. If I look at QQQ, so QQQ on a 4-hour basis, looks weak to me. The levels we should be watching out. So this is a resistance level. 298 is a resistance because you can see that if I show you on a 2-hour basis, you can see the levels clearly. You can clearly see that it tried to overcome that level, failed. That level was a support right here. that level was a resistance right here. So 298 would be the resistance, and on the downside 290 would be the support level. So we'll see which way it moves. If it breaks the 290, the next level would be around 282 level. So on a 4-hour basis, momentum indicator are weak. On a daily basis, RSI is just below the 50 level. It tried to overcome, but then dipped back below again. That's because S&P 500 is weak, Dow is weak, so it's not able to generate enough momentum to the upside. But it is at an important level. It is below the 50 level. The question is whether it continues to slide down or whether it reclaims. Well, we'll have to see how things work out the rest of this week. On a weekly basis, you can see that just get rid of this. On a weekly basis, you can see that RSI is right at an important level. This level was a resistance here, resistance right here. So question is whether this level is going to provide support, because if RSI remains below this level, we've seen in 2022, when that happens, you generally see lower prices. So on a weekly basis, it's at an important level. Whether it can hold it to be seen. On a daily basis, I'm seeing some weakness, and on a 4-hour basis, definitely weakness. So on a shorter time frame, it's going through a consolidation, but on a longer time frame, it is hanging in there. It's right at an important level. So we'll see how things develop the rest of this week, and I'll come back with another update later this week, or definitely over the weekend. Well, until then, thank you very much for watching the video.